Welcome to Optimal Living Starts Here. I am Versandra Kennebrew, your host for this episode, and today we are discussing the topic being great through national and community service. And today I am wearing a different uniform, a different hat, if you will. And today we're talking about something that is near and dear to my heart as we look to empower our veterans and their family members so that they can live healthy lives, healthy, happy lives. We look at well-rounded opportunities for personal and professional development, but not only that, we seek out opportunities for veterans and their family members to do exactly what veterans were doing when they signed up to become a part of the United States military. They signed up to serve. It was about humanity, I believe, that they saw there was a need, that they could do something to protect humanity. Whether that be, there's various reasons to want to go down that rabbit hole. But I can tell you that national service is a huge deal. And when I think about that, I think about the opportunities that I have had to participate in national service type roles. In fact, I was involved in AmeriCorps Vista to be exact. And if you're not familiar with what AmeriCorps is, let me tell you a little bit about it. It's a part of the national service in the, if you go to Washington, D.C., there is the Corporation on National Service, and it has multiple legs, if you will. There is the AmeriCorps, then there is AmeriCorps or Vistas, Volunteers in Service to America. They change up the names every now and then. So you basically want to just go online and do a search, either AmeriCorps or AmeriCorps Vista, and it'll all take you to this hub. There's even senior corps. You may even be more familiar with what they call Peace Corps. Most people, when I discuss this topic, they are familiar with the Peace Corps. So when you think about that, just imagine that the Peace Corps is international. Wherever there is a disaster, when there is a need for humanitarian support, when there's a need for medical support, when there's a need for emergency evacuations, those type of things, the Peace Corps is generally involved in those type of things during peacetime. Then on the U.S. soils, AmeriCorps does similar things here in the United States. So we typically will work with nonprofit organizations, or we sometimes work with faith-based organizations, and we even work with schools. Oh my God, big time, in high schools, elementary schools, even universities and colleges. And the individuals who are volunteering in service to America, sometimes there's a very small stipend. I mean, it's less than $200 a week, and really, you are, or we were, and those that are serving right now are living in poverty in order to serve humanity. But when I use that word poverty, please don't take it for what I really know poverty to be. It has nothing to do with how much money is in your bank account or how much money you make every week or whatever. People associate poverty with just money. But in my mind, when I know poverty, when I see poverty, it has very little to do with money, because it begins in the mindset. Poverty begins here, because when you are elevated in your consciousness, then you recognize that wealth is everywhere, all around you, and you learn how to turn what you do have, which is your gifts, your talents, your connections, your relationships. You turn those things into the money that you might need to exchange to get what you want. But cash certainly is not the only currency, and I'm a witness to that. I had to prove it even again when I became an AmeriCorps Vista. I had to give up my new car that I had and all that kind of good stuff, but that's a materialistic thing that has nothing to do with serving youth who are homeless and having a hard time just being able to have the basic things. I mean, serving in that capacity, working with elementary and high school students to alleviate poverty. This was a low income community in Marietta, Georgia, just outside of Atlanta, Georgia, that I had the opportunity to work with for an entire year. This organization is called Youth Empowered Through Learning, Leading, and Serving. YELLS is the acronym, YELLS. And what I was able to bring to this organization that helped related to capacity building and fundraising and community connections and making sure the parents were engaged with the children's education and those type of things, just building relationships in the community between this nonprofit and the high schools and the businesses, making sure that businesses were aware and that they were actually active in doing things in the community that were needed to keep this organization afloat. It was an amazing experience. And when I think about the topic for today, being great through national and local or community service, I think back to one of the famous quotes by Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. You know him. I sure do hope you know that name, even if you don't know him personally. I do have some friends that knew him personally, but if you don't know him personally, you certainly know his work. You certainly know that this peacekeeper, oh my God, this amazing giant, that he once stated that everybody can be great because everyone can serve. And so that's what today's topic came from, because if you want to be great, sometimes you think or you get caught up with television, which is simply entertainment and drama, but it's not real life. And many people are caught up in believing that real life is what they see on the big screen in those drama and entertainment movies and shows and stuff like that. But when you're talking about the real world and what's really going on, it's really about human beings knowing themselves first, and then learning how to engage and connect with other human beings to bring about great things. That's what's happened in every business or corporation. There was a leader that had a vision, and then they brought on other leaders who also bought into or shared a similar vision. And then they brought their talents and their resources and everything, and they created something that would solve problems for people. Well, national and community service does the exact same thing, but these organizations tend to be for the people and by the people. I consider myself a people who believes even the quote, if you want, no, be the change you want to see in this world. That's a famous quote that I live by. Be the change you want to see in this world. So I look to be the change every single day. Not saying that everybody's like me. I understand that. At my age, I finally figured it out. Everybody's not like me. We all have various roles in life. So today I'm really imploring those of you who are looking, if you are seeking employment, say you're a college student or you just graduated from high school and you're looking for that what's next, how can you serve and not have to go to the military, even not to try to take you away, but to give you options. You can enroll in AmeriCorps. There's no, I think 18 years old is the minimum age. And because it goes all the way up to senior corps, I didn't go to AmeriCorps till I was, 55 years old, and it was a deep experience for me. It was necessary. It was actually a part of my, I would say, ministerial activities, or things that I needed to do in that area. There was a group, an age group that was just really bothering me. I'm real about it, and I needed to fix my problem. It wasn't the people who were in this age group, but I needed to understand. I didn't need to get it through a book. I need to have a real experience with teenagers. I don't have children of my own. So I did not have, I guess, the pleasure of raising children from birth, although I did raise two brothers, and 17 years of raising brothers, actually more than that, but 17 official years. I guess that gave me some experience, but I was seeing things among our youth that were teenagers, and I could not even fathom what was going through their mind that caused them to be the way that they were, because the reference that I had was my teenage years. At 14, I started working because I needed to work to provide income for the household, because I was raised by my grandmother, and she, had a sixth grade education and could not provide much for our family except for a whole lot of love. Maybe that's where I got this whole idea of service being so very important, is from her, because I watched her, even though we did not have much, but I watched her, be a volunteer with Meals on Wheels, and go and deliver meals to the elderly. Even when she was in her 50s, I remember her doing that. I remember her going to the hospitals and praying for and reading to people who were sick and shut in. I became a junior missionary at age 18, doing the same, because in my heart, that's what I felt that my role in life was, to be that, to be of service in that way. You don't have to have a lot of money to be of service. So when you're talking about being great, it has nothing at all to do with your bank account. So this is an alternative to, another form of service, national service. But then there is community service. I've also served on boards of directors and as volunteers at Gateway Center in Atlanta, and the Coalition on Temporary Shelter in Detroit, Michigan. Very, very powerful organization that has served hundreds of thousands of people who were homeless on the streets of Detroit, including myself, when I was homeless about maybe 15 years or so ago. That was the place of refuge for me. I was able to go into their transitional housing program in a building called Peggy's Place. It was a former convent, I think it was, where nuns used to reside just outside of the U of D campus, which had like a seminary school and a church and all those things. And this was a part of that campus. And this is where single women and women with children were housed as they got themselves back on their track. Sometimes we get off track and we do need support. And it's good to know that there are organizations like that that are out there to really just throw out that lifeline and say, you know what, maybe you need to be still, maybe you need to rest, maybe you need to lean on us for a little bit. Maybe that's what you need. And then provide some wraparound services. And that experience was life-changing. I recognized there how much I really had to offer to the world, because at that time, how I got there, you know, it wasn't just about not having money, because I worked full time and had a business. Yeah, this was about the emotional stress that comes from living day to day and giving from your reserve. You know, talking about a cup being half full. I'm talking about at the very bottom, I'm giving from that, believing in my heart that that was my, you know, destiny. And I was so wrong, because you cannot give much of anything from your reserve. You have to give from your overflow. I mean, when the cup is all the way full, you have running over, overflow. And so I learned to live from overflow rather than from my reserve. Still giving, but making sure I start with self. So those organizations are definitely organizations that you can serve in, you know, serving on a board of directors, or a volunteer that even just works with specific projects. You know, you might just decide, hey, I think it's important that everybody that's homeless has a pair of socks. And you start a campaign where you just collect socks. Believe me, socks and underwear are needed in every city, every state. I don't care, you're supposed to be the wealthiest county in every city has homeless people. Don't get it twisted. It has nothing to do with your economical status, how many degrees you have. None of that has anything to do with poverty, which begins in the mind. When you believe you are alone and hopeless because no one loves you and you cannot function in full capacity, so things just fall apart. You could have money in the bank and not be able to pay your bills and be homeless. You know how many seniors become homeless because they might have slight dementia or Alzheimer's and they can't remember, and they lose their home, and then they end up somewhere in a nursing home or on the streets even, because they really don't have anyone to support them with getting things to where they need to be. I'm talking people who have worked all their lives. So service to humanity is so very important. And there are organizations that are set up. The United Way, my God. The United Way is another organization that you can volunteer in. And they have so many different ways that you can support. When I was working with that nonprofit in Marietta for youth, we partnered with the United Way to offer this program that was really about community members coming together to assist each other with accomplishing SMART goals. So the way it worked is you set a goal. If your goal generated revenue, like say for instance, one of your goals was, I need to pay my gas bill that's outstanding, $500, and I don't make enough money to pay that kind of money. I need to find a way to resolve this challenge. Well, the group would come together. This is some good stuff, y'all, I'm telling you. Group would come together, they would brainstorm on ideas, they would share resources, those type of things. And at the end of the day, if the person ended up going out and say, the group decided to donate things that they could have a garage sale or something and make money from the, support of the entire group, they made the $500, bam, the gas bill got paid. But guess what? The United Way would match any like financial gains that you have. Like say, for instance, you decided you wanted to save $200. Put $200 in your savings account for a rainy day fund. You put $200 in the saving, they match the $200. Oh my God, so many programs out there that are supporting self-sufficiency, personal development. And I gotta say, I keep plugging this one, but Toastmasters, that is my all-time favorite. 5 years I've been serving in a volunteer capacity with Toastmasters International. Yes, it is for my own personal development, and it teaches me how to communicate effectively and to be able to speak professionally. But it's so much more than that, because serving in a district leadership role as a division director, supporting 300 club members and 13 clubs, this is a job. I do not get paid for it. But it is a job that is rewarding beyond measure. To see someone come as a new member and they decided, hey, the reason why I joined is because I have this idea for a business, and I know it's going to require me to write proposals. It's going to require me to be able to have these meetings and organize sessions and seminars and possibly and actually pitch my business idea. So I decided to join Toastmasters in order to do that more effectively. So that person comes. That person may not even be able to complete writing a paragraph without 10 mistakes in it. We have grammar patrol at Toastmasters too, because that's a part of what we do. But you have to write it and then you have to speak it. Some people might be able to speak it but can't write it. This process is where a mentor might come into place. And maybe I'm showing that person, some tools for being able to correct what they're writing. Maybe I'm showing them how to look up words and stuff on the computer through Google to make sure you get the correct spelling and that type of thing. A lot goes into the work that we do to support each other. Everybody's on different levels. Everybody's trying to make it to what they consider to be success. So the key is, if you care about humanity, you care about everybody's personal growth. I care about everybody's personal growth. I guess that's why I'm a coach too in my profession as an integrative nutrition health coach. That is what I do. I help people with their personal growth. So whatever I'm doing, just like our special guest on yesterday evening, Kimberly Naylor, just like she stated, it's all about the vision. If it supports or gets me closer to realizing the vision, is what I say yes to. If it's not, then it's like, I don't think so. So service in these areas that I've been speaking of, national service, service in the area of AmeriCorps, VISTA, Peace Corps, Senior Corps, even service with Toastmasters, service with nonprofit organizations, United Way, various organizations that are out there. You learn as you grow. You develop as a human being. You become more efficient and effective at doing the things that are hopefully important to you, which is why you would choose the place you decide to do your service instead of letting it choose you. You would always look for where you can shine brightly doing what you love. If you're doing it in service, you want to do what you love. You don't want to be feeling any kind of way when you're serving. You don't want to feel guilty or any kind of crazy stuff when you're serving. You're doing this from your heart center. You're doing this from a place of love. You're doing this because it is your gift to humanity. So as we prepare to close, I would just like you to know that there's a saying out there that it don't make dollars. If it don't make dollars, it don't make sense. And I would like to refute that statement. Mainly because of what I said earlier, cash is not the only currency. But also because of the fact that sometimes you don't know what you don't know. And so if you haven't gone to college, you haven't gotten a degree, service might be the best opportunity for you to get that next level of information, knowledge, and wisdom that can take you to the next level. It would be invaluable to your progress, to your growth and your development. So it's almost like an exchange. Instead of you paying somebody $10,000 to teach you, you're enrolled in or invested in a year or whatever period of service, and you're gaining knowledge and information that you didn't have to pay for with dollars and cents, but with your sweat equity, with your gifts and talents that you exchange for that. Think about it like that. Just a thought for you to consider. These are the things that I consider as I move up and I grow and just really transition in my own personal life. My preferred way of learning is not the lecture room. I need to be hands-on. I'm a tactile learner, primarily. So for me, I need to be engaged in the process. I need to put my hands on it. I need to, need to feel it, to know it. And this is just my idea that I would like to share with you. And I hope that you will maybe even share it with someone that that you see those same type of things in. You see that they learn better through touching and feeling. Share with them that there are other options for growth, personal growth. Share it with your family members, share it with your children, your teenage children, your young adult children. More than anything, they will develop in a way where they now know how to interact with humanity in social settings that are different from maybe what they've been used to all of their life. They will be able to get to know people from different cultures and backgrounds. They will have the opportunity to see with a broader, more of a macro set of eyes rather than just so micro, just in your neighborhood and community. And through that enhancement, that new ability to see things differently, broader perspective, your children, your young adults will have a greater opportunity in this bigger world for success. They will have a better opportunity when it comes down to dealing with challenges that people are facing today. They will understand more about environment and the importance of protecting it and keeping it safe and clean. Oh my God, they will understand how other cultures are affected by some of the prejudices that not only people, African American people, but other races, you get to see that stuff on a more connected, close-knit type of way, because you're dealing with it in your community that you're now a part of when you're engaged in these service initiatives. So there's so much to learn from national and community service. And if you don't do it, who's gonna do it? There's no Superman or Superwoman out there waiting to see your light flashing and beckoning them to come and save you. We are the people we've been looking for. We are the people we've been looking for to save us. Gotta go inside. And through service, you go inside and you find that superhero within.